All right, so I'm Jen Lawton. Welcome to Success Stories. And I'm here with Martha. And I just want to say thank you in advance, Martha, for being with me today and sharing a little bit of your story and your journey with us at Glow Natural Wellness, because I know that there's somebody that's going to hear what you share. And maybe you'll think, oh, this detail doesn't really matter. And it'll touch somebody that they needed to hear exactly what you had to say. So I just want to say thank you in advance. And thanks to anybody who's listening for being here, because I think it's really fun when we start to learn from others. I think success leaves clues, right? And when we can start learning what worked for somebody else and be inspired by their health and healing journey. So Martha, would you just share a little bit about yourself before joining Glow Natural Wellness? Just introduce us to Martha.
Thank you, Jen. My name is Martha. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I'm an outdoors person, golf, being on the water, walking. My journey started about 35 years ago, and it's just been, I liken it to a cabbage where you just keep peeling off a piece and you go, okay, I got this handled, and then something else will come along, and you just and it's just a progression. I can also liken it to a puzzle,
Mhm.
and just trying to find the pieces that work for me that don't necessarily work. It had to be for me because traditional medicine just didn't work for me. And because I'm a small person, medications were always for a man or a larger person. And so I just started looking at flower essence. I think that's what started me, and those felt really good. And it's just, I realized that's the natural side I needed to be following for my health. And 20 years ago, yeah, it was almost 20 years ago, I had breast cancer. And I'm not a survivor, I'm a thriver. And I couldn't take, because it was estrogen positive, I couldn't take, hormones anymore. And when I was seeing a naturopath, and the oncologist called her and said, prescribe, hormones for her because she can't, because she had estrogen positive breast cancer. And so I just muddled my way through life, thinking sooner or later I'm going to need to be on hormone replacement of some sort. And so that same naturopath about 5 years ago said, well, it's been a while. Why don't we try HRT hormones and replacement? And I went, oh, okay. But somehow or another, they weren't working for me. And when the naturopath said, well, it's all in your head and you need to change your belief system. And it was such a shock. She started bullying me, and I never went back. And and I found Dr. Sands, and I really liked what she had to say. Especially what spoke to me was, she says, wouldn't it be nice to be able to go on a trip? And I'm like, yeah, because I had stopped going on trips because I was afraid, how are you going to sleep? That was like my biggest concern, was I want to go someplace and I want to be able to sleep. And believe it or not, last week I woke up and said, I'm going on a trip. I was at that point where I could say, yes, I want to go on a trip. I was starting to feel better. And I told my husband we are going to the Outer Banks next May. And because I had just gotten a brochure in the mail at the same time. And I said, and I called them and I said, I would like to book a trip for two. And I feel happier now being on the hormones. Yes, it's an adjustment. We're always having to adjust every 4 months or so, and sometimes in between the testing. But the gals that answer the phone are so amazing, and they're kind. And when you call up and you're crying because it's just like the world doesn't make sense, They're there to let you know it's okay. It's okay. And I'm trying to cry myself because it was such a relief to know there was something out there for me.
Martha, I'm so honored that you shared that, and thank you for finding us and for yourself. What I mean by that is your journey is so powerful, and at the same time, I've been hearing from other women around the world that feeling of being bulldozed or that feeling of being bullied. And so just want to say thank you to that part of you that's like, I'm going to find something that works for me. And thank you, no, thank you. Right? Thank you, no, thank you. That's not how I want to be talked to. That's not the experience that I want. And so just, I think women, especially when we do that, just really honoring that part of it, like it's me and my body, and I know that there's something that's going to work for me, right?
Yeah.
This is not my person. And I love hearing I'm not a survivor, I'm thriving, or not surviving, thriving. So that's so
Hmm.
powerful. So powerful because that mindset is something that you can keep coming back to. And I think that's so powerfully inspirational. So thank you. Yeah. What were you going to say?
I'm hoping your people can piece all this together because I'm
Yeah.
just coming from the heart. I remember when I was going through breast cancer, and this doctor said to me, I'm here to support you. I'm on your team. I was like, wow, I had never had anybody say, I'm on your team. And I feel like that's what Glow Wellness does, is it says, I'm part of your team to help you become healthier and to reclaim your life. And I had also learned that, we are the God of our bodies. And so doctors can say things, and it could be, naturopaths or your traditional doctors, but we're the ones that have to decide if that is right for us. I just can't say enough wonderful things about GlowFit, from their exercise program, nutrition, the mind. I mean, they cover everything. I just don't have the words.
Oh, you're doing beautifully. And so it sounds like you're not only a member of the Healthy Hormone Club, which I love that Dr. Michelle put this program together for women with evidence and knowing that women deserve to have bioidentical hormone support done correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the
Yes.
testing, the unlimited support, and so created that and that made it available in a way that really sounds like it's working for you. And I've just heard so many women share the same thing. I feel like I was bulldozed, or I went to doctors and I felt gaslit, or I just felt like there wasn't something wasn't for me, or I didn't want the synthetic, didn't want forever chemicals in my body.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that Dr. Michelle, I remember talking to her when she was working on this program, because she said, I know women will be served and I can't find anything that has clean ingredients or that I want to recommend. And so, to her good credit, she created it. But to have this place where you can have the unlimited support, and that actually warms my heart. I love that there's the clean hormones and a really knowledgeable team. I feel very honored to work with the women that I work with on our team. Everybody knows their stuff, but they care, right?
Yeah.
But to hear that you felt supported, like you've had experience time and again with Glow Natural Wellness, where you feel like there's a team here to support you. And so that makes my heart so happy. And then on top of it, that you reached out. Right. That's the important part, is I think
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes, I'll speak from my past, if I've been having a hard time, I've had to push through that part that wants to isolate and feel better before I reach out, or,
Mm-hmm.
wait, versus you reached out for support. Like, let's say to the customer service team or the clinical team, they can't support what they don't know about. So you had to have that action within to reach out, get support. First of all, knowing something was out there for you,
Right.
finding it, saying yes, and then you've continued to reach out like, okay, I need a dose adjustment, or I need this support. So I love that this program exists for you. And I want to go back to sleep, and congratulations for feeling so good that you booked a trip. That is huge. I definitely don't want to skip over that. To be in a place, I get that where you feel like quality of life has diminished, and so we're not
Hmm.
branching out, we're not thriving, we're not doing some of these things. And I heard you say, reclaim my life, and I'm feeling good enough, and I booked a trip, right?
Yes. Yes.
Huge, huge. Yay, that's
Thank you. I felt like I wanted to do a Yippee Skippy dance. And
yeah.
I also want to mention that you have other programs, like you have the DNA and you have the hair analysis. And because there's so many things besides the hormones, but you want to, the DNA teaches you more about your body, what your body needs. And then the hair analysis is also, and Kim is amazing
Yeah.
and very caring. And we talked this morning and she had to adjust a protocol. And that's what I like is I don't feel like it's guess by golly. It's no, this is what we need to do for you, not just, well, try this, try this, try that. That is, I found very frustrating too when you're dealing with doctors. Well, we'll see what this does. And I'm like, but I don't want to be miserable taking it.
Right? Right? Oh, that's beautiful. So I'll make sure to let Kim know. She's an incredible resource in the HTMA test. Really, I've heard from the team that the HTMA is really great at being able to give a lot of really, really good information that's highly applicable. Right. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
I learned that many, many years ago from Dr. Michelle. I remember somebody asking about a particular test, and another doctor had said that they had to do that test. And I remember hearing Dr. Michelle say, well, why? With all due respect, why? And what would you do differently in your life? And I remember thinking, whoa, because, I had never really had that idea. And that's one thing that I love about Dr. Michelle and her brilliant mind, her brilliant heart is also this education and this empowerment. And
Mm-hmm.
I had never really considered that if there's a test, whether you take it or not, what's really the outcome? What would you do differently if it was this or that? Why are you taking it? You don't have to. There's no law that says you have to take this test. So why would you take the test? What would you do differently? And the HTMA is a perfect example of a test that gives a lot of really good, actionable, personalized information that you can say, oh, okay, I'm seeing this and this is where I can create more balance. And it's highly actionable. I think that sometimes there can be without getting too far off topic, there can be tests that are a little bit of a fishing expedition
Yeah.
versus something that feels quite strategic. And also, I'm a huge proponent of our lifestyle, right? So, what are we eating, and what is our supplementation, and how are we moving? So, I really want to commend you for what I'm finding is a common denominator. Remember, I said success leaves clues. With all the women that have shared their success stories, I'm hearing elements of reaching out multiple times where other practitioners they've had experiences where they may have felt gaslit or minimized. They keep
Mm-hmm.
reaching out, and then every single person that I've talked to has that element of responsibility where here's the information, but I'm applying it. I'm looking at how I eat, how I sleep, how I move. And so that element of personal responsibility to step up and into your own health and healing versus, hey, please fix me, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's a team, but it's ultimately your decision every day to show up for you. And so that's what I find really super thrilling is the programs are there, the information is there, and you're applying it and getting really good results. Walk me through a little bit of your GlowFit, because you mentioned GlowFit. So I don't want to skip over GlowFit. So that's with Dr. Michelle and Coach Kijan. Tell me a little bit about your experience with GlowFit. And I know I'm sure it's an ever expanding journey. But let's talk a little bit about GlowFit.
They started GlowFit, and you get the emails, and I'm reading them, and I'm going, oh, that's nice. And one day I just sat down and meditated. What do I need to do next? And I heard exercise, and I thought, okay, I'll join the GlowFit. And it was scary at first, very scary at first, because I had grown up where I didn't know when I was going to get my next meal. And so when they said you had to go on a fast, so to speak, I was like, what happens if I get hungry? Where's my next meal? And and it I had to really talk myself through it. And I got done, and after 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, we did this, good job. And I could see, my body changing, and I loved the menus. And because I've always been trying to eat healthy, but you don't always know where to go. I just knew when I was at the grocery store, all I did was walk around on the outside of the grocery store because that's where all the food is. And I would I'd look at the carts, and I said, man, that's not food.
Yeah.
That's just junk you're putting in your system. But we've been led to believe it's food, through all the commercials and everything. And but I was also going, but I don't know what to cook, I don't know what to make. So the the recipes in GlowFit were like a lifesaver. And so I started incorporating them more and eating more protein in our bodies. And I love that. And I will have to say, which is really sad, I signed up for 6 months, but with the traveling to visit my daughter and back and forth between two different Texas and here, the program got to be too much. The one gal that I was exercising with, her mom had a stroke, and she just
Yeah.
doesn't have time. But I love the whole idea of the program. But I do exercise and watch what I eat and drink and all that. But I just kind of like a GlowFit dropout. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. So there's it's not a dropout. I just think that if you were able to do the 10-day fast, which is just that beginning piece in the beginning, and actually prove to yourself that you can prepare for and do a what is it, 24-hour fast,
Yeah.
that's incredible. And I feel like that's so empowering because it gives your body a break and it just turns on healing in a way. And so if you received benefit from giving yourself that challenge, doing the fast and completing it, if you gave yourself the benefit of incorporating some recipe ideas, and then I heard you say sleeping better, so maybe some of what you learned helped with the sleep, or everything culminating together helped with the
Mhm.
sleep. There's no dropout. It's just that, okay, this piece works for me and this piece doesn't. And I think that's really important in a healing journey puzzle, is knowing and being kind of a health detective for yourself. Is this giving me energy? Does this feel like it's fueling me and delighting me and for me? Or does it feel
Mhm.
like it's draining me a bit? And so perhaps a bit of the expectations on yourself, or whatever part wasn't working for you, it should never feel like a have to. It should feel like a get to. And you're like, well, I'm moving and this works for me and I love my
Mhm.
walks and I right. So really, I would, if I could challenge a little bit of the story, I want to say drop out. Nope. I want to just say that you've decided that there are certain pieces that work for you. You're going to take the gold and you're like, these are
Mhm.
the parts that move me forward.
Mhm.
Was there ever did you notice any strength or any changes in your system that did
Yeah,
you?
I was really surprised because I do yoga twice a week, and we do planks, and
Uh-huh.
then we turn on our sides. And I wasn't doing a modified plank, I was doing the whole thing. And I was like, wow. I mean, and like my teacher's like, you're doing weights while we do yoga. And I'm like, yes. And so I I was just really I was impressed with how much I could do, weight
There.
wise. And maybe, no, I don't lift, 20 pounds or whatever, but I can bring in the cat litter from Costco.
There it is. Yeah.
I think that was really cool for me, was
Yes.
to be able to see how well I was, and how well I was doing. And I have people that can't believe I'm as they'll say to me, "Oh, you're not that old." I go, "Yeah, I am. I'm older than your wife." Yeah. I was really happy about that part, was to
Yeah.
see how strong I was.
Yeah. And are. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So at
Yeah.
age 70 to increase your strength and to have, right, like in your yoga class to have that experience and show like this is what I'm able to do with my body. And that's a direct reflection of strength training or eating more protein or all these different things added up together that
Mm-hmm.
you were brave enough to say yes to and try. Right. And then it sounds like you've been able to create incredible results for yourself that work for you. And I think Dr. Michelle would want nothing less than any of her programs, which is incorporate the pieces that are going to help you move forward in your health and healing. It shouldn't feel like a have to, right? Like the information that's going to propel you forward. And so also a lot of what they do in GlowFit is the mindset, like, pushing through barriers that you think, oh, I can only do this. And then you push it and you're like, whoa, I did that. And so a little bit of that is reflected, or a lot of that is reflected in your choice to, should I do a trip? I want to do a trip. I'm doing a trip,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think that you're kind of that success story of all these different pieces adding together. And now you've been able to shake that story up, which is I can get stronger. I am stronger. I want to do this and I can, and I booked it and I made it, right? So really giving yourself example upon example of look at me pushing through this threshold and feeling better and getting stronger. And thank you for sharing your age at 70. That's very inspirational because I wouldn't have guessed 70 at all. And so, yay. And then I think more important though than the number is how we feel, right? So
Oh,
for me,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I feel really good, and I can get off the floor without having to hold on to anything. I can just pop up. And this is another thing too, is I have an electric bike. And when I first had the bike, I was afraid to lift my hand off the handlebars because electric bikes are heavy. And I can now go, I'm like, oh, look at me.
I'm so strong. That's awesome. Victory.
And like my son and grandson and I went on a bike ride. Yeah, they have mountain bikes. I had an electric bike. But it was like, they're like, you ready to peter out? Oh no, I'm ready. We went on like a 5 mile bike ride, and but it was just to have the stamina back to be able to go, okay, I'm gonna clean one room today. And whereas before that was like climbing Mount Rainier, which is a very 14,000 feet mountain in Washington. I mean, just the little stuff used to feel like so hard.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, no, we got this.
So it sounds like that is a huge success
Mm-hmm.
internal, like, right, you've just given yourself evidence over and over again that you can do something that felt hard, and then the way through it is through it, right?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
you've done that, and that's how our minds learn. The mind learns by repetition. And so you've pushed through barriers over and over again, and that starts to influence other areas in your life, like the trip being booked, right? Oh,
Right.
can I lift my hand off the handlebars? And so much, right? Like I remember seeing a long time ago a little experiment, and they had an ant and they drew a circle like with a pen, and the ant wouldn't go past the circle, right, that was drawn. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of our thoughts can do that to us, or right, and you've taken steps to heal your body, get stronger in your body, but this is also getting stronger in your mind where you're like, nope, I can do this now. And that
Mm-hmm.
comes from pushing through,
Mm-hmm.
right? So congratulations. That's really big, Martha.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm starting to say yes to my life, which
Woo!
which was so hard because if you don't feel well and you're not sleeping well, you kind of close in on your life, and
Yeah.
the fear of what happens if this happens or what happens if that happens starts to dictate what's going on,
Yeah.
and then you just close in. So I'm trying to live inside out instead of
Yeah.
outside in,
Yeah.
where everything I see is a reflection on how I feel inside.
There it is. Isn't that the ultimate freedom formula? Good for you, right? I
Yeah.
create the peace, the calm, the joy, the power, and I
Mhm.
feel it, and then I radiate it out, and then it starts showing up. So,
Mhm.
and I've heard you say, reclaim my life. Whew.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Really, congratulations. It's so, so, so powerful. And you chose yes, and you chose to push through and start to make some of these experiences more and more familiar. So I'm just so happy for you. And I'm so happy that you took the time to share your experience. And so if you could say anything to the team or Dr. Michelle, what might you like to say?
Thank you from the bottom of my heart for showing up and for them also saying yes to be on this journey with women like me. If somebody's on the fence, I would say just do it because you have it set up that you could do a monthly or a 6 month or a year program. Try it for a couple of months just to see, and it might turn out better than you expect.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. I'm so happy that you've had the experience across so many different aspects of Glow Natural Wellness, but it just feels like you've made it work for you and you're
Mm-hmm.
getting tangible results and better sleep and strength and energy and you're still applying different pieces to the puzzle. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's important to keep that open mind. And then also, I think sometimes I think it's so powerful because what you shared about closing in, we can have that story that it's just safer that way. And you've shown by, okay, you know what? I'm going to reclaim my life. I'm going to do some of these things that felt harder. Now I have the energy and the stamina to clean this or go on the trip. I think that's a huge invitation because there's a lot of people that can feel isolated or shut down. And even that process can start making us feel the opposite of energetic. So saying yes and pushing ourselves to actually take action that might feel a little uncomfortable and out of our comfort zone. And then now you've had experience upon experience of just doing it, right? Like you said, just
Yeah,
do it, just do it.
just do it.
Yep.
Yeah. And and one last thing is just to figure out what will make you happy right now. I think that goes a long way. And sometimes it's just going outside or taking a shower or it doesn't have to be large and it doesn't have to be where you buy something. It's just what would make you happy right then. And that's why I've been reclaiming my life is what will make me happy right now.
I love that. I was all the questions I was going to ask you, just like felt it and you answered it first. It's so beautiful. Yeah, and so I think we should just leave it right there. These small actionable steps
Mm-hmm.
that you can take to improve the quality of your health and your mindset and saying yes and reclaiming your life. I think it's all just solid gold. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'm so happy that you said yes over and over again. I'll make sure to share your comments with Dr. Michelle because she loves hearing feedback. And so that's always really fun. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody watching. I'm going to turn off the recording and you and I can chat for a moment. But thanks
Okay.
for being with me and Martha today.